Welcome to a live CK podcast here on the Basketball Zone YouTube channel. I'm your host, Leo Beers, and today we're going over all of the latest rumors surrounding your favorite NBA teams. The main topics, of course, John Collins, DeAndre Ayton, and the semi-big, not really big, it's more of a lateral move to create some space for some teams. That went down today. That was a Woj bomb, the first Woj bomb of the off season. The NBA Finals, last game was a hell of a game. We had a watch party at Medici, Sacramento. Shout out to them for always hosting us in Red Bull, for giving out 75 mixed drinks. That was awesome. And they gave out 3 $50 gift cards. That was awesome as well. So make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at BasketballZoneOfficial or Cowbell_Kingdom to keep up with the latest here in Sacramento and all the surrounding areas. And I'm back, man. We're doing it every day, leading up to the 23rd, which is the NBA draft next Thursday. A lot of rumors are going to go down. Possibly some trades will go down before the NBA draft. We'll see what happens there. But without further ado, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to get the algorithms going ASAP. Okay, let's get to it though, man. The first news of the day, let's go over the trade. That was Denver trading away JaMychal Green and the protected 2027 first round pick. Oh my gosh, more 12-year-olds for the Thunder, right? For the number 30 pick in this month's draft, which is next week, and 2 future second-round picks. Nuggets have number 21, number 30 in this draft, and the Thunder, they have number 2, 12, and 34. The Nuggets trading away JaMychal Green. His $8.2 million contract will give them flexibility to use $6.4 million in the taxman level exception, or an $8.2 million trade exception in the off season. The Nuggets expect to be a tax-paying team. Thunder have $31 million in cap space to absorb Green's salary. So what this means is that the Nuggets are looking to make a big splash. Honestly, we saw some of those mock trades, right? Damian Lillard potentially in a Nuggets uniform. That would be so much fun, right? But JaMychal's a good player, right? Stretch 4, solid player, solid role player. Do you see the Thunder using him? I think so, if they make some moves. You know, I've heard the Thunder going both ways and potentially gaining all these assets to then trade for the big player. I don't think they will. I don't think they're ready in terms of competing in the West, not yet at least. So what does that mean for SGA too, right? And that's super important leading up to this draft, because what if they want a top 4 pick? You got the Kings and the Thunder, a little bit of chirping going on, potential swap there. Supposedly the Kings like Chet at number 2. I think that's a smokescreen, but we really don't know, because the Kings have done a good job in really covering up their bases in terms of not allowing things leak out to the media. So good for them. That's an improvement, in my opinion, in terms of everything that we knew with the Vlade Divac era and the eras before that, how everything will get leaked out to the media. So to me, that's an improvement. Keeping things in-house. No need to go out there and tell the whole damn world, unless it's to your advantage and you use the media to your advantage to create some chaos and some leverage. But this move to me is really the Nuggets getting one more asset, right? They'll probably trade that, and they're loading up for, I think, somebody big. I really do. So we'll see what the Nuggets do. Keep an eye on them. This is a huge offseason. Jamal Murray will most likely play this off this next season. You know, taking off the whole year off because of his injury. It was unfortunate because the Nuggets were really good. Another MVP season, right, from Nikola Jokic. He was just a monster. And if we hypothetically talk about Jokic and Lillard, holy moly, like that would be amazing. It would be fascinating to watch those two play together. We've seen what they've done against each other. Lots of playoff battles or, games that really went down to the wire, and that was so much fun. So that was a trade, the first trade of the offseason, let's call it that. And then let's move on to John Collins. John Collins, right now, there have been chirping for months, almost a year, that he is not happy with his role in Atlanta. He still signed the extension, a lot of money, right? $25 million, if I'm not mistaken. And whoever trades for him, if he gets moved, you got to really think about, okay, this is not a supermax player, but his salary screams max type player. Like, that's a lot of money to commit to a player who hasn't really proven to be a star in this league. Like, he's a very good role player, in my opinion. I like him as a player. I'm not in love with him. I think he has a lot of deficiencies in his game. Would he complement Sabonis and Fox? Absolutely. Would he complement the Miami Heat? Absolutely. It just depends on how you view him, and are you willing to commit $25 million a season for this particular player? Yes, he's young. He still has some upside, a little bit more room to grow. But at the end of the day, that could really, construct these lower market teams, right? These smaller market teams like the Kings, like the Thunder. Are the Kings in such a rush now to be, okay, we're going to win now, we're going to give up X amount of picks, Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes? What is the value that John Collins provides in the open market? Like, I'm not giving up the number 4 pick for him. Me personally, I would never give up the number 4 pick for John Collins. But yet again, Monty's job's on the line. You got to think about all these types of things, right? What other team out there can use John Collins? I think every team can use a John Collins because he's nice offensively, right? He's skilled. He's a lob threat. He has that weak side rim protection skills, capabilities. He's done it. He's played big-time games in the playoffs, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year against the Philadelphia 76ers. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Who'd they lose to? They beat the Sixers, and then they lost. Yes, they lost to the Bucks. I'm pretty sure they did because that's the year that the Bucks won the championship. So, that was a big accomplishment for that team. And last year, making it into the play-in in that way, and them not being healthy most of the season, the Heat bouncing them out in 5 games. They have to make some moves, create more versatility, and especially if he's not happy. If I'm him, though, I'm in a great situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing with Trae Young, who commands double teams, especially when they trap him in the pick and roll, which that creates space for you to roll and do your thing, either in the lob game or just potentially creating more space for you just to attack downhill. And you got to think about, you got to become a better playmaker as well. These are the opportunities that Trae Young provides for you. And if you put him, just saying Sacramento, offensively, yes, he does cut weak side, so he would be a formidable, front court teammate to Sabonis. But defensively, Sabonis isn't very good. John Collins is questionable. De'Aaron Fox has too many question marks. One of the worst analytically defensive players in basketball, right? I think he's bottom 2% percentile, so he's really bad. Again, I've defended him in terms of him being capable of being a good defender, but he hasn't proven that for an 82 game slate. So Defensively, I don't love the fit. And then if you put him at 25 million, Fox at 30 plus, and then Sabonis at 30 plus, which is probably what he's going to command once the Kings extend him, you're pretty much financially screwed at that point. And how much can this trio grow, right? You would have to hit the lottery at number 4. Hypothetically, say you give up Harrison Barnes and the future first, right? Lottery protected. You now have John Collins, Sabonis, and Fox, and the number 4 pick. Is that good enough to make you a top 5 team for the next 3 years? I think that's how you got to really look at things before we start talking, oh, well, are they title? Let's not jump to conclusions and say, oh, are they a title contender? They have to make the playoffs first. So the question is, can they be a top 5 team for the next 3 years if Sabonis hits the stride? If Sabonis can hit 37% from 3, right? Like on 5-6 attempts. Can Fox be a 37% free throw shooter on 6 to 8 attempts? Like, these are the increments of improvements that these players have to get to in order to reach potentially the top 5. And then defensively, like, they have to make a huge jump. Mike Brown coming in will for sure help that out. I'm not worried about that. He's going to demand a lot from his players in terms of being their focus defensively, something that they haven't had in a long time. So think about those things. What other teams do you see John Collins potentially fitting? You know, people say Portland, you know, Damian Lillard, if they're looking for that. But yet again, like, is that a great fit? It's just his price tag is a lot, man. You know, it's tough. It's tough. The 12th pick, let's go. Hawks need an all-star talent to pair with Trae Young, not youth. You know, I don't know where that comment comes from, but how about they take the 26th first-round pick and Dwight Powell? So some teams saying Dallas. That could be a good one too, right? Where him and Luka Doncic would be just a force in the pick and roll. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. I get it. Him and Capella are the same player. Plus, Capella's a better rebounder, but Collins has more of an upside to me. That's a good point as well. The Hawks are looking for that, you know, that 3-4 stretch. Collins is a 4-5 stretch, right? He's not worth a lottery pick if you trade for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trading a top 5 pick. Hell no. So that's interesting. That is interesting for sure. See what the comments are saying. Being in parts is I hope the Kings don't make the trade number 4 pick for Collins. Agreed, 100%. And again, shout out to Captain Crab. They just opened up in Elk Grove. Family owned and operated. Phenomenal quality food. You know, that boiling crab type food. Like, if you like to get messy and, you know, if that's your style, Cajun style, highly recommend Captain Crab in Elk Grove. Tell them that Cowbell Kingdom sent you guys. Phenomenal people, man. Huge shout out to them, and we appreciate their partnership. DJ from Cali says his draft is too dope to trade out of the pick. He's hurt too much. Ivan says, would a deal be Collins, Herter, Atlanta's pick this year and in 2024? So you're saying whatever their pick is, right? Which I don't know if it's 14 or 16. No, it's probably 16. I'm not giving up that 4 pick with Collins, though. You know, it's just one of those things that I'm not willing to do. Is Monty willing to do it? I'm not sure. You know, how desperate is he really? Would you see Collins in Denver? I could see that. But what's the status on MPJ, right? Because Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., that's your 3-4 combination. So what's going to happen right there? You know, are they willing to get to, like, move some parts around to where they get more depth? Like, if they trade, you know, Michael Porter Jr., picks, you know, Monty Morris, like these other ancillary pieces that are good pieces for the Nuggets for, say, a Damian Lillard, then you can go out and go get a John Collins. But then his price tag is a lot of money, and they have some interesting, question marks, some holes to fill. Like, that would be exciting, right? Move on to the next one. And it's D'Angelo Russell is being shopped around by the Timberwolves, and that's by Kevin O'Connor. Interesting, but not surprising because he has a lot of deficiencies defensively, and that roster is, solid defensively. Let's be honest, right? They have a lot of length. They're very exciting to watch. I think they need something else for sure, and it's not D'Angelo Russell. They need more of a defensive-minded guard at that position. What is he worth? Somewhere a first-round pick, somewhere from 20 to 30, maybe for a D-Lo, but his contract is huge. So what team is willing to pay him? Maybe the Knicks can make that splash for the name, but does that make them better if they don't get, say, a Spider Mitchell? And then we'll get to the Spider Mitchell stuff, right, where we saw a picture with them with Jimmy Butler over the weekend. But in terms of what can you get for this guy, it's tough, man. Some people say the LA reunion with LeBron James. I'm not touching Russell Westbrook if I'm the T-Wolves. No way in hell do I surround or put him next to my franchise player and Anthony Edwards. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, who just featured in the latest Adam Sandler film. That was a fun movie to watch, honestly. Hustle. It was fun, right? With my boy Wacho, Hernan Gomez being Bo Cruz. I thought it was a good movie. Not a great movie, but a good movie. It was fun to see all these NBA, players and executives get a little shine in a Netflix movie. So that was fun to watch, but I'm not expecting something crazy. This is funny. Still loading. The Clippers makes no sense. You are in Minnesota. You aren't going to get a better point guard. Yeah, it's going to be hard to move him. Trade to Miami for Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson. I would not do that if I'm Miami. Hell no. Why would I ever do that? Kyle Lowry's a better player. Stop it. So that is a D-Lo stuff. Like, what are they willing to move him for? Are they willing to attach assets to move him? We don't know. This is the other interesting news from today, Monday, June 13th. And Phoenix is increasingly expected to engage in serious sign-and trade talks centered around DeAndre Ayton. That comes from Mark Stein, so credible source there. It's interesting, man. You've heard a lot of things like, well, he wanted Monty fired. Don't know how much truth there is to that. I doubt it, but you do hear these rumors, and there's always been a character question mark with Ayton, very entitled kid, very talented. It has always been the monster, right? From early on, he was just a physical specimen. So what do the Suns do? Do they offer him that max deal, that's what he's seeking? He looked at the market. He turned down the deal last year. The Suns are trying to negotiate with him. Do they run it back with him? There were rumors that they try to get Sabonis as well, but the Kings beat him to it because the Kings had a better offer in Tyrese Halliburton. And then ultimately, the Suns traded away their top 10 pick in Halliburton's draft class, right? To get a role player there. So what do the Suns do? Do they do a sign and trade for a guy like Bridges from the Hornets? Are the Raptors interested in DeAndre Ayton, but then the Raptors aren't willing to pay him that type of a max deal? He is young. He is solid. Very good player. But is he worth that price tag? And that's the question that a lot of these executives, these front offices are really asking themselves. Like, where is his headspace? Who is he without Chris Paul? These are all valid question marks that he has to prove. And the best situation for him is the situation he's in now. So if I'm him, I'm taking the price cut because who's going to be better for my career than Chris Paul? Let's be honest. Nobody. Because he already has a chemistry with Chris Paul. He's already a part of something special growing in Phoenix. Why would I not take a pay cut, a short-term pay cut, but long-term value? Especially if you're thinking about legacy and, future accolades. Like if you go to a bad team and you take more money, what's that really going to do for you, right? But again, I'm not in that situation to be, oh, well, it's going to cost me an additional $20 million or $15 million, right? Depending on what the tax, the tax brackets and whatever state he moves to, all those type of implications. These are all things that are being weighed by front offices and him and his team. So it's going to be hard for me. And the Suns, do the Suns want to experiment with something else? Because he shores up so much on the defensive glass. Yes, he disappears, but during the regular season, he's solid. So, are the Suns willing to negotiate and budge, right? Is it both sides, trying to find a middle ground, which I think they tried it last year, and maybe the odds are not in his favor this offseason because they had a miserable ending to their season. They can blame it all on COVID and all that garbage. They lost fair and square to the Dallas Mavericks, and these are things that will be brought up when they're doing their negotiating. So, some people say the Suns going to regret letting him go in 5 years. He's going to make an immediate impact no matter where he goes. Jeremy Grant for Dre. Again, are the Suns willing to experiment with a smaller lineup, right? So if you go Mikal Bridges and if you go Jeremy Grant, who's going to start at center? Do you bring Crowder off the bench? Do you start all those three wings? Yeah, lots of question marks there, man. Who do you guys think he fits best with? Let me know in the comments below. Let's see. When are we going to play at Stribley again? Bro, come to Sac, brother. Come to Sac, man. We out here hooping. We'll be hooping tomorrow at 11 a.m. in downtown 24, right next to the Golden One Center. See you guys there. Captain Crab sponsors you. Yes, Captain Crab in Elk Grove, not in Stockton. That is their other location, and they have an Arden location in Sacramento as well. But we are in partnership with Captain Crab in Elk Grove. Great people, great food. Highly, highly recommend them. Let's move on to the next news of the day. And that was Taylor Jenkins has agreed to a multi-year contract extension with the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, well-deserved, no question about it. This guy is a very good leader. I believe he was second in voting for Coach of the Year. The fact that I think they went 25 without John Morant, that speaks volumes on how well prepared he had his guys going every single night. And in the playoffs, they won games without John Morant. That was just amazing to watch, and just his growth and his humble beginnings of how he got to where he got to. Great story, well-deserved, no question about it. Great move by the Grizzlies. They got a lot of potential this offseason. What are they going to do? Are they going to go after Spider Mitchell? They have this window where if you put John Morant, Donovan Mitchell, Jaren Jackson Jr., boy, oh boy, that's going to be a lot of fun. We just saw a picture talking about Spider Mitchell. Perfect segue, right? With Jimmy Butler. The consensus is that he should go to Miami. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, some picks for Spider. Is that good enough for the Utah Jazz, though? Because the Utah Jazz just hired midway to the last year, I think in December, they hired. Oh man, I'm sleeping on his name now. The guy from the Celtics. But what is he gonna do, right? Like he needs to make a splash, but he has to move Rudy Gobert or Spider Mitchell. They're not playing together this upcoming season. I just don't see it. Like, oh man, it'd be tough because that relationship, man, it's been bad ever since the COVID thing, and then like how Gobert essentially shut down the league. Obviously, the league was going to shut down because the whole world shut down. But Danny Ainge is he's in a very tough situation in my opinion. He has a lot of pressure to perform to new ownership in Utah. I can't believe I just forgot his name. Like Danny Ainge, I apologize, but Danny Ainge has a lot of decisions to make. I was talking to Tyson, Stat Boy Tyson from Basketball Zone, about potential trades, and we talked about the best trade for Spider Mitchell, or the best offer that a team can make them is actually Philadelphia, where they can offer a Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, some picks for Spider Mitchell. And then you got Harden, Spider, and Joel Embiid. And that's a trade that nobody is talking about. Literally, nobody's talking about that trade. So we'll see what happens, especially how, Doc Rivers' job's on the line. We don't know what to believe, right? With Daryl Morey there, you never know what Daryl is capable of doing anything. And talking about that, Philadelphia Sixers exploring trades involving the number 23 pick and Danny Green. So, should have drafted Bo Cruz, yes sir. Embiid really tore his man's ACL by flopping, shaking my head. Danny Green is worth nothing right now. He done though. So y'all want to trade this man after y'all probably damn near ended his career. That's tough, right? That's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Oklahoma might do it just because they'll get the number 23 pick, right? And they'll just sit out Danny Green. He'll rehab for the following year. And then his contract, his $10 million comes off the books. That's pretty much it, man. I think these are today's news. We can go to what Woj said. He talked about Green, JaMychal Green, the trade, the extension. We got some draft stuff as well. We'll be talking about the draft every day. I mean, we're doing it every day. Memphis Grizzlies coach Tyler Jenkins agreed to a multi-year deal, blah, blah, blah. He was number 2. Memphis is securing key parts to its bright future. Yes, I mean, Memphis has a very bright future, regardless of what Ja does in terms of injuries, because he is prone to injury. He plays very reckless, but that's who he is, and you can't stop him from being himself. That would be the worst thing that they can do. It's similar to what the Niners did to Kaepernick. They try to make him into a pocket passer, but that's when he started to struggle. He is who he is. If he's a running quarterback, embrace that. Just like how the Ravens embrace the fact that their quarterback, their MVP quarterback, is essentially a running back with passing abilities, right? So never try to make a player something that they're not, right? And it's just one of those things. So that's how I feel about it though, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. That was today's news, brought to you by Captain Crab in Elk Grove. Awesome people. It was a good show. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in. What do you guys think about John Collins? Where should he get traded? DeAndre Ayton. Should the Suns move on from Ayton? Should Ayton force himself out? That's a real question. Because does he prioritize money, right? Or does he prioritize legacy and winning? Because he has something good going in Phoenix. Why would he give that up? That makes no sense to me. But yet again, I'm not in his head. I'm not in his inner circle. So I don't know where his headspace is at. And that's going to show us a lot of what he's, willing to do. Or is he just like, I know I'm worth X amount of money and I'm going to fight for my worth. And I'm going to go to a team that wants me, that prioritizes me. That could be somewhat selfish. But understanding that if he doesn't go to a better situation, that's still going to show me who he is, though. Like, whether or not he's been on himself or not, like, that matters to me and where his headspace is at. But that's going to do it, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Probably have a guest on tomorrow or the following day. But if you guys haven't subscribed to us on iTunes, on Spotify, would really appreciate that. Leave us a review. That helps out the algorithms. And don't forget to like this video or dislike it. Either way, it helps out a lot. Drop a comment and saying that you enjoyed it or I hated the show. Thank you guys so much. And on behalf of the entire CK and Basketball Zone family, I thank you. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.